Hello, and welcome to Unity of Fredericksburg. My name is Linda, and I'm pleased to welcome all of you to the Unity of Fredericksburg weekly online gathering. At Unity of Fredericksburg, we are advancing the movement of spiritual awakening and transformation through unity, a positive path for spiritual living. We thank those of you watching on YouTube live or later and invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're able to attend live, we encourage you to join us in the Zoom community room for the full morning experience, including music, prayer, and connection. Our weekly newsletter includes the Sunday service link, and you can subscribe to receive that on our website at uofva.org. For everyone local to Central Virginia, Unity of Fredericksburg offers a variety of fun and enriching in-person gatherings every month. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter at uofva.org for all the details. Our message today comes from our minister, Reverend Cheryl Fair. And now, here's Reverend Cheryl.
Thank you, Linda, and welcome, everyone who is with me right now in the Zoom room, and all of you watching on YouTube, whether you're watching now or later. We appreciate you showing up and being a part of the energy that is Unity of Fredericksburg. Our broadcast date today is Sunday, February 15th. And what an eventful week we are in the midst of. I hope that everyone had a wonderful day yesterday, focusing on love in all its forms, partners and friendship, pets and hobbies, and the joy of being an agent of love in action in this world. Happy belated Valentine's Day. And in the week to come, on Wednesday, we begin the season of Lent. So Wednesday is known as Ash Wednesday. And during Lent, which is the weeks leading up to Easter, many Christians focus on simple living, prayer, and fasting in order to grow closer in their relationship with their perception of the divine or God. In New Thought communities like Unity, we practice fasting and feasting in consciousness. So, fasting in consciousness is the practice of relinquishing thoughts, beliefs, words, behaviors that stand in the way of peaceful and authentic living. And feasting in consciousness is the daily practice of engaging in thoughts, words, and actions that foster peace and gratitude and compassion and being of service to others. So, following Lent is a very rich practice. I invite all of you to participate by following along with the Unity booklet for Lent, trying to get a good angle on this. It's called Release and Reimagine. For those of you who subscribe to our newsletter, the upcoming newsletter will have a link there that you can download a free digital version for yourself. Or if you are local to Fredericksburg and you're able to come out to the lunch we're having on Monday the 16th, there will be hard copies there. And the Unity of Fredericksburg Faith Forum will start up on Thursday, February 26th, every week, doing some readings and discussion from the Lent booklet through the season of Lent. So, I want to encourage you to participate in that. And Lent is a great way to lead into our topic for today. So each month in 2026, we will focus on one aspect of our annual theme. And our overall focus for February is being intentional. So we started the month talking about walking with intention. And today our topic is speaking with intention. We're going to look at speaking with intention in three ways in particular. Now, speaking with intention is something we touch on regularly in Unity because we know that the words we use actually create the experience we have in life. Our words are formative, they are creative, they're powerful, and paying attention to our words is a powerful practice. So, the first step in that practice is noticing the words that you use, and then making sure that the words you use really reflect your intentions. So, we talked about this last year as we were going through the season of nonviolence. We practiced that last year. And so, here's a reminder from those messages last year in particular arenas in our lives, particularly if we're looking at events in the outer world, perhaps things around politics or government. It's so easy to find ourselves using words that actually divide, label, rather than respect and honor all people. So there's a reminder about that. And here's an example. This is a short little piece that can be found on the Spiritual Passages website of Speaking with Intention. So here it is. There was an incident in which Abraham Lincoln was being criticized by a lady for speaking kindly to his enemies. You should be destroying your enemies, she said. Lincoln replied, Madam, do I not destroy my enemy when I make them my friend? Talk about a genius of choosing words with care. Abraham Lincoln, huh? Good example. Now, let's kind of fast forward to current day. I've got a current day example coming from the first American Catholic Pope, Pope Leo, with a message that he sent out to the Catholic faithful. It's a little bit longer for a quote, but listen to this. Here's Pope Leo. I would like to invite you to a very practical and frequently unappreciated form of abstinence, that of refraining from words that offend and hurt our neighbor. Let us begin by disarming our language, avoiding harsh words and rash judgment, refraining from slander and speaking ill of those who are not present and cannot defend themselves. Instead, let us strive to measure our words and cultivate kindness and respect in our families, among our friends, at work, on social media, in political debates, in the media, and in Christian communities. In this way, words of hatred will give way to words of hope and peace. Nice, huh? Talk about speaking with intention. Pope Leo would be fit right in at Unity with that topic, wouldn't he? All right, so let's just review the essential steps in this practice that we're talking about, which is basically kind of minding our words. So step number one, get clear about your intentions. How is it that you intend to show up in a particular situation? Would you like to show up as compassion, acceptance, encouragement, wisdom, empathy? How do you want to show up? Step two, notice your words. Don't be judging and sort, just notice. Just notice the words you use. And then later on, reflect, have a time of reflection, asking yourself, do those words that I use really help to support and do they align with my intention? And if not, then step four, you can work on choosing different words. Choosing different words, okay? So an easy 4 steps around minding your words so that you can be speaking with intention. So just breathe into that. Breathe into that 4-step process. Take a breath. Just kind of claim it is done. This is something that will be helpful for everyone. And here's an affirmation that we can do to affirm that, all right? I'll say it and then you can repeat it with me at home. I choose my words with care and mindfully express goodness. Say it with me, my friends. I choose my words with care and mindfully express goodness. Yes, indeed. All right. Now, next up, we're going to look at two specific words, two little words. I am. How you use your I am frames the experience of your life. You need to practice choosing the words that come after I am with care. And this is a practice that is supported by things for those of you who are fans of scripture and things from the Bible. Let me just, toss in a few of those for you. So, a powerful example from the Bible regarding I am comes from the Old Testament, the book of Exodus, chapter 3, verse 14. Moses finds himself in conversation with a burning bush. It is the divine expressing itself as a burning bush. And he's asking the burning bush, when I go and tell my people what you've said, what should we call you? What's your name? And the response is, I am that I am. Now just say that out loud, my friends. I am that I am. Feel how it resonates at your divine nature and on the individual level at the point of view. You can feel it kind of in the big picture, and you can feel it right in the personal heart of hearts that you are. Say it again. I am that I am. Isn't it really telling that even back in the Old Testament, there's something that's so powerful that talks about the divine as in the universe and the personal individual expression of that. Now, in the New Testament, Jesus shows us how to use our I am. He says things like, I am the good shepherd. I am the way, the truth, and the life. Now, traditional interpretations of these I am sayings would say that Jesus is talking about himself and that this shows us that Jesus is separate or different than us. But in unity, we do not see Jesus as the exception, as setting himself on a pedestal as like the only Son of God. We see Jesus as the example based on his teachings, because he shows us this and tells us over and over that we can do all that he can do and more. So in the Gospel of John, Jesus says, I am the light of the world. And in the Gospel of Matthew, he flips the script and says, you are the light of the world. And then gives us practical examples about how we don't light a lamp and then put a bushel basket over it, right? It shows us how to embody the divine light that we are by using our I am in powerful ways. So he's showing us with the way that he talks of how we are to be mindful of our I am. So let's do some examples. It's easy for us in our daily lives. If I say, how are you today? I am so tired, or I am worried, or I am so lost. But think back to the first practice that we did today. What kind of experience are we creating when we are attaching those kinds of words to our I am? So, can we reframe that? Absolutely, we can reframe that. I'll give you a really simple way, because practicing with these little phrases that we use and toss around can actually make a big difference in how you feel, how you show up, and how you experience the world, and how connected you feel with the divine, however it is that you call it. So rather than saying, I'm angry, which kind of, that sort of like states a statement of being, I am angry. Well, you can switch that switch the words to something that indicates kind of a temporary passing thing. Just say, I feel angry, right? So that's just in this moment. You're not saying I am angry. I feel angry. All right. Instead of I am worried or I am tired, I feel worried. I feel tired. You know, you can step it up. You can flip the script, right? Rather than I am so lost. How about I am finding my way one step at a time? Elevate your language so that you're not attaching something dismal to your I am. You're saying instead in a temporary way in my human life, I'm feeling lost. I'm finding my way one step at a time. So that's the second in our practices for today. Minding our words was the first. So this is minding our specific words of I am. So just take a breath into that, my friends. Let's seal that with an affirmation. I like to put my hand like right on my heart space when I say an affirmation. So it's not just words floating around here. It's anchored in my body. It's anchored in my heart space. So here's our affirmation. I am the light and I am grateful. Say it with me. I am the light and I am grateful. Yay. All right. So the third way that we're talking about speaking with intention today comes right out of Unity Metaphysics, understanding the law of mind action. So the law of mind action is explained in lots of different ways, but the simplest way to capture it in our attention is this phrase: thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. To be more specific, you might say thoughts held in mind tend to produce after their kind, because we know we have lots of little fleeting thoughts during the day. But the ones that really produce after their kind are the ones that are enhanced with feelings, like or the kind of conditions we were talking about before about feeling angry or worried or whatever. Those are the thoughts that really tend to create more of them. And we know how this works. We know when all of a sudden we have an anxious thought, and then our brain goes, oh, we're feeling anxious. I will go out and find more things to be anxious about. And then your brain's, oh, then we have another anxious thought, and then another one, and another one, another one. And then all of a sudden we find ourselves, with our heart racing and just, feeling overwhelmed, right? So this is what we're talking about, the law of mind action. Thoughts held in mind tend to produce after their kind, particularly when you lean into it with feeling, right? So if we have a fearful thought, more fearful thoughts tend to show up. And our human brains are faithful servants. Our brain does what we tell it to do, and we tell it to what to do with our thoughts, with our intentions. So when we have a fearful thought, our brains go, okay, let me go and find evidence of that, more evidence of that. And that's where, this dynamic happens of we get more and more and more of that original thought that was, jazzed up with energy of emotion and things like that. But we forget that this is the phrase I'm using a lot today, we can flip the script, right? We have the choice at any time to shift to thoughts of gratitude, to words that are compassionate, to words that show up as encouragement and supportive. We have that choice at any time when we notice, because we're noticing, right? That's the first practice. We're kind of noticing. And it's like, oh, I'm starting to list off the things that are frustrating and irritating me today. And my brain's going, oh, yeah, and this is going to, it's like, oop, take a breath, flip the script. Take a moment to reflect on what you're grateful for today, of all of the wonderful things, you know? So the law of mind action works with those as well. And that's why a gratitude practice is so powerful, is because when you start your day or end your day, or however it is you do a gratitude practice, focusing on things you are grateful for, then your brain does that, is again a faithful servant, says, oh, we're feeling grateful. Let me go out and find evidence for you of more things to be grateful for. And then there we are, understanding and using the law of mind action in a way to create a better world for ourselves. And of course, we know that that ripples out to help create and lift up and create a better world beyond our individual experience. So on the Spiritual Passages website, I found a story that kind of expresses all of this. So let me read that. I'll read you a story. So, a traveler once found himself walking alone through a steep canyon at the end of a long, difficult journey. He was tired, frustrated, and carrying the weight of his life's troubles. Feeling unseen and unheard, the traveler suddenly shouted his anger into the open space, his complaints, his blame, his resentment spilling out. Instantly, the canyon echoed the anger back at him, louder, sharper, and overwhelming. Startled, he felt as though the world itself were shouting at him. He cried out again in blame and protest, and again the canyon returned his words with even greater force. After a moment, he grew quiet and noticed something he had missed before. The canyon was not arguing with him. It was not judging him. It was not choosing sides. It was simply responding. He spoke again. This time, he offered words of gratitude. The tone and grace of his words came back gently. He whispered hope, and hope returned. Kindness echoed calmly through the stone walls, and in that moment, he understood. The canyon had never been the source of the noise. It was a mirror, not a creator. It amplified whatever was offered to it, without preference or opinion. The force he felt was not coming from outside him. It had been his own voice all along. So that's a pretty powerful example, isn't it? So that third practice we're talking about is understanding and using the law of mind action to reframe and refresh and speak with intention. So breathe into that, my friends. And let's seal that with an affirmation. I choose thoughts and speak words founded in love and compassion. Say it with me, friends. I choose thoughts and speak words founded in love and compassion. Yes, indeed. So let's review what we've been talking about today before we move into our meditation. First, notice your words. Be mindful of your words and reframe them to align with your intentions. Second, pay attention to those two little words, I am, and what you're attaching to your I am. And third, use the law of mind action with wisdom and understanding that thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. And let us all choose our thoughts and words to create a beneficial experience for ourselves and for those around us. And let us all choose gratitude and feel grateful for the opportunity to do that and for the opportunity to reset and refresh when we fall off the wagon and accidentally, you say things that we didn't mean to say. So we all have that opportunity. When that happens, let's be gentle with ourselves and let's be grateful for the fact that we know that we can reset, refresh, and keep practicing being mindful and speaking with intention. So, we're going to take all that and move into our time of meditation together. So, I'm going to start us off with a couple of deep breaths. Just take a couple of deep breaths with me right here, right now. And if you wish, you can allow your outer eyes to soften or drift closed. Let's do a practice with the breath right now. As we breathe in, let's breathe in with the thoughts, God is. And as we breathe out, I am. Do it with me, my friends. Breathing in, God is. Breathing out, I am. Again, breathing in, God is. Breathing out, I am. One more time, breathing in, God is. Breathing out, I am. And I want you to feel these I am statements expressing at the point of you. I am the bread of life. My thoughts and words express the abundance in my life. I am the good shepherd. I guide my thoughts and words toward goodness. I am the light of the world. I shine the light of love and compassion. And now let us move into a time in the stillness together. And as we begin to bring our attention back to the here and now, just notice your breath moving in and out, and return to that practice we started with your breath in, think to yourself, God is. And with each breath out, I am. God is. I am. God is. I am. That energy of God is and I am is the foundation of Unity's first two principles. And we can practice that just that easily with each breath in and breath out. And let's seal this practice that we have shared together with one more affirmation for today. Circling back to our topic for today, the affirmation is I speak with intention and I am grateful. Say it with me, my friends. I speak with intention and I am grateful. Let's do it one more time and really give it some energy, right? I speak with intention and I am grateful. I know I am grateful and I'm grateful for all of you. So thank you so much for being here and being a part of this energy with me here together. And I'm going to hand it back to our friend Linda.
Thank you, Reverend Cheryl. And thank you for watching the weekly broadcast from Unity of Fredericksburg. Visit our website, uofva.org, to learn more about our mission of spiritual awakening and transformation, and support our ministry with your financial donation. Thanks again for watching.